United States, I could walk in a few minutes to the Life Center where 31 people have died. It's
Cindy,
pretty surreal to be that close to it all when it's where it started here.
so if you've read the news about the senior citizen home known as, I think, Life Care, I believe.
Yeah, Life Care Center.
Literally near Cindy's house. So you'll be happy you're on video with Cindy as opposed to be with her.
Well, I've been on lockdown for 3 weeks.
Wow.
I signed up too. Well, not only because I want to, hear what John's doing, but like, oh, people.
Excellent. All right, well, let's go ahead. We got a recording going on. My name is John Chen. I'm the CEO for Geoteaming. I specialize in team building programs that use technology and adventure. Authored this book called 50 Digital Team Building Games. So I've been working with virtual and online teams now for over 20 years. And this is the opportunity really now to take a lot of that experience and share it with each of you. And so I really look forward to the opportunity to show you some key examples of virtual team building. We're all moving online, so I know many people are looking for resources. And so I only want to show you some key examples, but more importantly, demonstrate them for you and see how they can help you with each of you inside the work that you have. So do a short presentation here. So yeah, this session is for virtual team building. And as in the early days, actually, Tim actually knew me in these early days. We were in a program called The Journey. And in 2000, as early as 2000, we were actually using WebEx, and we were also using online discussion boards as a way to bring a team together. It was a 9-month leadership program where 6 months in, we actually got together face-to-face, and we attempted to summit Mount Rainier. And so it was one of the most epic team building programs and leadership programs I've ever run. And people really changed. In fact, someone on my last session is one of my clients who was on that program. The program was so useful for him that he got fired from his company in a way that he didn't want to be. But it was 4 years after the program. But one of the key things that happened to him is he looked at it not as a disaster. He looked at it as an opportunity. And so he started an executive coaching business, which he always wanted to do in San Diego. And now he is still the owner of a very successful coaching business in San Diego. In fact, we're even pairing up in a webcast. So there's the things that you can do virtually that you can really do to build your teams. And now is a key time for leadership. So I hope each of you, with the teams that you're working with, whether they're work teams or they're volunteer teams, that you can show up as a leader if you can bring some of these tips to them to help your online meetings. And so I look forward to hearing any feedback that you guys may have. So as we go along, I'm going to the challenge with teams. The challenge with teams. What I was talking with Tim in the beginning, there were challenges with teams when you were face to face. You get additional challenges with teams when you're online. And so here are the common challenges with teams today. In the research that we've seen, still only 5.9% of companies communicate their goals daily. And especially now as a leader for one of your teams, one, you can see the over communication, which is key in a time of crisis, but also keeping the communication clear and knowing that your teammates are pursuing the same goal helps them stay focused when there are definitely so many things trying and vying for your attention nowadays. I know that if I look at my phone and start going through my Facebook feed, that it can easily go on for quite a long time before I get back to doing the real work that I'm supposed to be doing. So communication is one of the challenges. This next one is collaboration. As you can see now, right, it's harder to collaborate because we're not face-to-face, but it might be easier in some ways if you can. The stats we have are 39% of the surveyed employees believe that people in their organization, in their own organization, don't collaborate enough. And so the virtual aspect of this can make it harder because you're no longer face-to-face with this. And so collaborating can be a bigger challenge unless you handle it correctly. The next challenge is around alignment. 97% of employees and executives believe that the lack of alignment within a team impacts the outcome of a task or a project. I know this to be true, that if a team is not aligned in its goal, that it is very difficult for the team to perform and to actually do that. In fact, I was part of that at Microsoft. I know we have Laura from Microsoft here. I was working on Exchange, and we went through 5 general managers in 4 months, and none of them could align the teams. It took a manager, his name was Brian Valentine, to really get people aligned to the fact that we needed to ship this product. That product became a Microsoft Exchange, of which I worked on, and it sold to over 200 million clients once we got alignment. So that's really one of the keys for alignment. And of course, the one we're all familiar with, work from home has been mandated. Most of the time, it's now not to the optional mandatory or optional side, it is to the mandatory side that we have to learn how to work like this. So your investment in this time for these 60 minutes is really here to hopefully give you 1 or 2 more tips that you can do to work from home more effectively. So my solution around this is around virtual teams, and I have this witty acronym. Maybe it might help you in your emotions and how you feel about this current challenge. It was not something we expected, not something we really want. So an acronym is GRR, G-R-R-R. What does that stand for? There's 4 key things I really want to highlight today. To get the alignment, you have to get an agreed goal. So if you should go and check, you should, very simple exercise on the next call that you have is ask your teammates each their individual goals and see what they are and see if they are really truly aligned to the company's goals around there. But having a clear goal is key for virtual teams to performing online. The next one is rules. So having clear rules of engagement, they're different than when you're face-to-face. So when you're online, helping to establish those set of rules is something that can really improve your team performance. The next one is rhythm. I think this one is so important. Everybody has had their life disrupted. And so finding a new rhythm is something that's really, really key. In finding that rhythm, it's your job to help establish it if you're one of the leaders. And you'll see, expect your first or early meetings to go slower. But if you establish this rhythm, try and keep a certain number of things the same, like time or the same platform, and then some of the other things that you do during your meetings. If you get that kind of rhythm, you can see that your team can really accelerate. During the journey, the climb that we had, we took practice climbs for those who were local, and we would have to go to Mount Rainier, and we would just climb to 10,000 feet, which is called Camp Muir and back. The first time we did it, it took us almost 14 hours. 14 hours. And by the 4th time that we did it, the team had established a rhythm. People understood that they needed to be there, or they held up the whole group. We also established a rhythm. While we're climbing, you always climb for 60 minutes and took a 10-minute break. And so once people knew to understand that rhythm, we were able to complete that same climb in 5 hours. A 14 climb into 5 hours. So that's really a key piece of why rhythm can really help your teams perform. And the last one is results. We're here to make results, even though we have challenging times. Just like this video here, I'm a big car nut. I became the owner of a Porsche Boxster last year, about following the F1 series on Netflix. And this is a pit stop. They gas a car, change 4 tires in literally under 2 seconds. And when your team is high performing like this is the kind of results that you can get. It may not be a pit stop for you. It may be revenue. It may be changing your business model, maybe whatever it is. But that's the kind of result. That's how you know your team is working. So I'm going to project that I believe the goal for this call is to host a productive team meeting and establish the best team practices online. So that's one of the key goals. So the first technique I'm going to teach you is what I call go-ahead caller. So this is really to help with what I call air traffic control. We have a lot of people, some of your calls may have 12, 14, 20 people. And so this is to help establish a call so that people aren't talking over each other. Unlike a live meeting where we can sometimes have sidebar conversations and still be effective, it is much more difficult here because everyone has the same airtime. So you can easily talk over here. So this kind of goes back to my radio caller days where people used to call in to a radio station and the DJ would go, "Oh, go ahead, caller." And so they would get that opportunity to talk. So when we're going to do this is we're going to let each person introduce themselves. So your name and where you're from, and then tell me one thing that's happening in your area or in your company that might be unique or that we didn't know. So if you have a camera on, you can wave your hand. If you don't have a camera on, you'll need to either hit me in the chat window and say I'm ready, or you can unmute and say your name. So if you're ready to introduce yourself, who would like to go first? Oh, wow. Okay, I saw Irma, and then we'll go to Valerie. Go ahead, Irma.
Hi, I'm Irma. I am in New York City. I work for a fintech company. And what was the question? Sorry. What else I'm supposed to say?
Yeah, your name, where you are, so your city, you got that, and something unique happening in your location.
So something unique is big museums and stores are now completely closed. We have to stay home because restaurants only are doing takeout, no sitting. So that limits really our social interaction that we used to have on a day-to-day basis and leaves us just communicating with people that we either live with or people we can call on the phone. And it's really affecting our work culture because people are collaborating less. They don't have the flexibility of just getting up and reaching out the person that is sitting in front of them or asking questions. And yeah, that's what's happening with us now.
Collaborating less. Yeah, that's interesting. And so I'm glad you're here, and hopefully we can show you some techniques how to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead to Valerie.
Hi, I'm Valerie, and while I work in New York City normally, I am currently in New Jersey because nobody can go anywhere right now. New Jersey has a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m.
I did not know that.
It's not, they're not going to lock you up because that would be putting people closer together, so they don't want to do that. But but they haven't quite figured out what to do if they catch people. But they're asking people to not be out from 8 to 5. But a similar thing, actually, my employer in New York City has for decades now resisted any form of working at home, except for some very limited departments like IT. So this was a big adjustment for everybody because you have a lot of people who have never done this, never had any desire to be at home, never, just not even, I mean, we were scrambling as of the end of last week, and even I was at work on Monday. We were scrambling around trying to get cables and equipment and just pieces of things to people so that they could actually even try to do this at home.
You suddenly became an expert though, didn't you, Valerie? Yeah. So excellent. So thank you for that. It's so funny. Even if your environment resists it, I know Valerie is doing this on her own and her side consulting. And now look at her. She's like the total leader. I know I've been on calls with her before. And so hopefully your company is appreciating you. If not, they at least are recognizing you. Okay, I saw Tim. Tim, let's go ahead. Go ahead, Tim.
Yes, Tim Walther from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Grand Dynamics is my company. We do team and leadership development programs, retreats, large-scale corporate events, all of which have been postponed or canceled, or seeking alternatives for virtual type experiences or events, which we're excited about creating, and looking forward to some collaboration with you, John, as well. One of the things locally that our community has done, one of our community foundation has started a local resource pool where folks that have some additional resources or funding can donate to this foundation, and locals who are distressed can seek funding resources locally to help with rent and things like that. So it's nice to see some local action taking place that provides a conduit for people that want to help in that way. And so that's been nice to see that beginning here in Jackson.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim, for that. Actually, yesterday, a friend of mine had a call, and it turned out a guy was on there, and he's a Washington State small business liaison. I didn't even know this existed, right? And this guy has every resource available for Washington State. So
Wow.
this connection that we're doing now, it can be really valuable. I know Tim lives in a community which I know he knows many of the leaders. And so hopefully it's really cool to be in a community that's small so you can help the decision-making process as opposed to larger communities where we just get dictated to. Right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Tim. Who would like to go next? Okay, let's go to Kate. Is it Katie? Did I say it correct?
Yes, Katie.
Katie, thank you so much, Katie. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. I'm calling from Georgia, but it's not state of Georgia. That's why I have such a strange accent. I'm Georgian, other side of planet. So I work for a while in non-profit organization. We are educators, mostly working in youth field, working with young people and those who are working with young people. And about 2 years ago, I started using Zoom for personal development trainings. And right now, when we have total lockdown, schools are closed, everything is closed, all trainings are postponed, canceled, and nobody knows what will happen. And I'm in charge of Girl Scouts of my country. So we are helping teachers and professors today to learn how to use Zoom, how to use online technology so they can conduct classes from their own places. So that's why when I found you, I was very excited, because until now I was doing everything by myself, educating myself. So I will be very, very happy to learn how to bring these tools to my country people. Thank you.
I'm so honored. Last year I bought 100 boxes, just so you know. So I'm helping you. And well, not helping you directly, but you need to come to next year. If you want resources, you need to come to a conference known as GameCon. Valerie and I have both co-presented there. And if you want to come there and like learn the latest in gamification, many of them with not very much budget, that's one of the places to be. Valerie can chat the information. So thank you so much. And here for your edification, right? You know, I'm not that strong as a history learner, but here's Georgia, here's Turkey, and here's Georgia. This is where Katie is calling in from. I have not yet been to Georgia, but look at these pictures. I can't wait to come. I would love to be here on a day and time when we are able to do so. Excellent. Who would like to go next? Let's go to Haley.
Hi, so I'm Haley. I am here in Jacksonville, Florida.
Oop, hold on 1 second, Haley. Your audio is a little light, so I don't know if your microphone or if you have a different microphone.
Can you hear me better now? No.
Okay, we'll turn up while you're on. So go ahead, Haley.
So I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida. I work for Crunch Fitness at the franchise office. I am the training and development coordinator, so I help coordinate all of our national trainings that we do with the different Crunch Fitness employees and owners, as well as our virtual trainings. So currently trying to figure out how we're going to transfer all of our in-person trainings to virtual trainings, which is a little difficult when it comes to the fitness industry. Yeah. So it's going to be a time. And I know like here in Jacksonville, we're just now starting to really get a lot of cases. So it's been pretty crazy. And we started working from home yesterday. And our reasoning behind it that was really, really strange was we were trying to put it off, but our landlord shut down the elevator. So, yeah.
Why? So just because?
Just because they couldn't maintain the hygiene of the elevator and they didn't want to risk it. And the stairs of the office are directly tied to the alarm, so we can't use them. So it's been an interesting time, and we're seeing a lot of craziness. Barely any food in the store. It's been a time. So.
Well, thank you, Haley. I believe we met at Training Magazine, right?
I wasn't there. My boss was there, Adrian.
Aha. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of interesting things, especially like this and using Zoom for fitness trainings. I know a lot of yoga studios are doing it. And so you can actually get a lot of production value. Even here on Zoom, you can hook up two webcams and just switch between the two. And now you become like a studio. But other better tricks, as you can see here, I'm a sidebar here with this, is like your environment is really important now. So like a yoga instructor who actually has a remote mic on them, right? So that, or a wired mic with a longer cable really will make a presence. This mic here is an iRig mic. I will send you the reference to these afterwards, but this or a Yeti, this I actually tested yesterday. Between the mic that I have for my default webcam and this mic is a huge difference. And as a presenter, this is all you got now. Good video, right? Good audio. And then this backdrop. This backdrop, if you see, is actually designed so that it works with me when I'm on video. So even in, you can see, even if you have a blank wall, you can actually make a digital, get an image of like something, like a room in your original office and make that space. You know, Ketty has this great black background, although you saw the black is actually a challenging color. White or green, I think, is actually a little better, but a solid color. But you can then use the virtual background, or you can do this. And so this can really help you. It sends unconscious messages to other people around here. This is actually a training magazine award that I had. And so, yeah, somebody texted me last time, or they were on the chat window, and they're like, John, you have a lot of awards. and so those are the things that are happening inside of there. In my other office, I had a totally blank wall. So I actually had 6 pictures. One was my book, one was my logo. One was, I actually have a picture with Anthony Robbins. I got a chance to hang out. And so, those are things that you can think about. But Haley, I'm not sure, you have, I think, some auto control on your mic. So when you bump your mic, you got really quiet. And then as the auto control came back and opened up, it actually gave the correct volume for you. So something for you to know. Okay, let's see. Who would like to go next? Cindy will go. Cindy's on mute.
Okay, hi. I'm Cindy Johnston from Kirkland, Washington, and I work for Effectiveness Institute. And so we do learning and development training. We have our own assessment, and we partner with John on some events. And we, like I had said, we're kind of a early adapter to all of this and a leader in what not to do and what to do, because we had to learn the hard way. So since I'm about 3 weeks into this and working at home in a whole new environment as a very social person, it's really challenging. So we can still walk outside, which is about all we can do. So other than just get essentials like pharmacy and grocery. And so my girlfriend and I are meeting not every night, but we're meeting again tonight. And Kirkland's famous for its wine walks. We have a lot of wineries. And so we've developed our own wine walk where we just meet at the park and we have a little to-go glass of wine and we walk. That's how we're keeping our 6 feet, and we can smile at other people and feel the fresh air. And we're so fortunate. It's beautiful in Seattle right now. So we're going to take advantage of it.
You got to tell me where this wine walk is. I might have to join you from 6 feet afar.
I know. Kirkland waterfront is unbelievable. I mean, the sunsets have been just off the charts. And so we're going to take advantage of it while we have it before the rain hits next week.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we had Seattle rain in here. So yeah, the cherry trees here in Seattle are all blossoming, which really, sorry if you have allergies, but it is really beautiful. And so, yeah, this is one of the advantages that you can have, is the ability to go outside and again, not have a big rush. All right, let's see. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm in Redmond, Washington. I work at Microsoft. And just like everyone else, we've been working from home for 2 weeks now, and we're scheduled to work from home for at least another 3. And a lot of our events have been canceled as well, and we're just trying to figure out how to keep everyone engaged and to just continue with not just productivity, but with morale as well.
Morale is a big one. Morale is huge in here. I'll give a preview. One of my friends is actually experimenting with a product that will do a virtual game show for up to 2,000 people. Valerie, I think you know the platform. The platform is Kahoot, right? So this is it's here, I'll put it in the chat window. So this is, I think for a small fee, you can run an online place, and you can actually use Zoom or Teams or some other video conference platform and then play against each other. But they kicked it up a whole notch. They actually have an MC. They run it on Twitch, which actually could hold a whole bunch of people. You use your cell phone so you can watch the screen and play at the same time. And it was quite entertaining. I think, their target time is 30 minutes. We're actually partnering with them, so I could actually lead sessions with them. I think they're almost done with it. But it's pretty impressive. It's basically, Valerie would like to, the best description is Kahoot on steroids, or Kahoot on estrogen, whichever way you'd like to go. So there are some cool innovations, and it helped with morale. I think it's competitive, it's fun, it's funny, and it can also help you distribute key information. For instance, if I did it, I would probably either do COVID or work from home or something that's, on the aspiring side, but all truthful. And really at the end of it, there's nothing, I said, they did St. Patrick's Day's facts as the test part. And I won't ever forget the answers I got wrong because it moved me from 2nd to 5th place. So that's how the memory works. Okay, that's great. We got everyone in. So the key here again was this initiative called Go Ahead Caller. And so there we go. So the key aspects of this is you want to establish a speaking rule. So the Go Ahead Caller really helps establish a speaking order for us. You know, if it's visual, you raise your hand. If you're not, you can chat or unmute, right? So if you haven't been called yet, I can call your name. And so, and acknowledge all. So especially like when we started, this is actually pretty rare. I had 3 people at the same time. So that means that hopefully you're close to the same in personality style. It allows me to say the 2 or 3 names that I saw, and it help establish an order so that someone isn't forgotten. You know what's amazing about these rules is once I establish them, even in my last call, I established them, and then at the close, I allow everyone to do a final word. And I had forgotten somebody because I wasn't tracking as close as I usually am. One of the other members saw that and say, "Hey, John, you forgot to ask Victoria." And so you have a real great rule when everyone's already adopting it and they're self-enforcing it, not you as the leader of the call. So this is a Go Ahead Caller. You can use this. I like to think of it as air traffic control for these online meetings. Again, it's great to be looser. If you want to see complete, not the anti-version of this, come to one of my virtual happy hours. So I run happy hours online every Friday at 5 o'clock, and you can see complete chaos because I don't enforce almost none of these rules. But while you're doing business, I can tell you this can really, really help in terms of maximizing that. Excellent. So now I'm going to help out with this next piece here. And really look, the chat window is something that's really, really valuable. So I'm an extrovert, right? In Cindy's assessment at Effectiveness Institute, I'm known as a persuader. I'm a ENTJ, right? So all those things say I'm an extrovert. And so there's a lot of time that I want to talk, but when I'm not presenting and I'm in somebody else's webinar, I've got to figure out how do I process sometimes by thinking out loud. How can I do that? And so the chat window can be something that's really, really valuable for you and your guests, and for them to establish the norm that the chat line is a back channel. So I'm going to stop sharing so I can see the channel. Oh, and Valerie says it's colorful and virtually no learning curve. Oh, I think she's talking about Kahoot. Excellent. Oh, wait, we have one other person that looks like who joined us. Emmy, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm just muted, working from home.
Excellent. Emmy, why don't you tell us where you are and something unique that's happening in your area?
Yeah, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I don't know, unique. I mean, I feel like we're all kind of feeling the same stuff that's happening everywhere else. So we've seen a lot of community members really come together, I guess. You know, we're seeing a lot of like food carts giving away food to kids and the needy. A lot of, I think it's been tough, but we're just seeing a lot of community involvement, and that's been really positive.
Excellent. Thank you, Emmy. Actually, I'm going to add a side story to that. My very close friend, Chris Nishawaki, is working with Food Lifeline. They're one of the largest food banks in the Seattle area. And yesterday, he was able to help with the press release that Russell Wilson donated 1 million meals yesterday. I know, 1 million meals. So that's really key, and it's really cool to see how the community is coming out. It was the first time in a long time that I got a chance to feel like Seattle is helping each other. It's really a case. So, Irma, you have something?
Yes, so actually in New York City, I'm not sure about other cities in the States, we have a service called Meal Pal. And if you're part of the service, now it's actually partnered up with Feeding America. So you can donate one of your meals, and Feeding America will donate the meal to people in need right now. So I think that's great.
It is really cool to see how communities are coming together. Like South by Southwest, they had a fund that was really to help the musicians, and that opened up after South by Southwest, one of the first large events to get canceled. So yeah, keep those examples coming in. I know it gives me hope about humankind.
And add something that I've noticed from the community of people that I follow online is that because right now small businesses are the ones struggling the most, I saw a lot of people from my community that started to pay forward for services that they have not yet received. For example, their local mani pedicure person or their small mom and pop shop in the corner, they will go ahead and buy gift certificates so they will be able to use them in the future. And that way these small businesses will have a little bit of income, and also these smaller creative people that have no other way of receiving income can have a little bit of income in this way.
Yeah, house cleaners was the other category that we got. So, okay. So the next part here, we're talking about back channel chat. See, this is a great too. So I can already tell, like, Irma, so you can, in the window, you can chat what you want to, if you have a behavior or profile style, you can put it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. So everyone can chat inside the window. Ideally, why don't you chat either your LinkedIn profile if you'd like to connect with others, or you can chat your website, all right, if you have a website for the work that you do. So go ahead and do that. I have mine. Let's see. We're waiting for others. Okay, let's see. Okay, I have Emmy's, Tim's, Cindy. Emmy, am I saying your name right?
So John,
yes, that's right. It's Emmy.
Emmy, thank you. Go ahead, Tim.
in the chat box, you can just choose to send chats to individual participants and not everyone. And that's like a setting on the back end somewhere.
Yes, actually, if someone chats you directly, it defaults to that person. So Tim, like if you direct chat me, if I try to rechat again, it actually only goes to you and I have to reset it again to everybody.
Okay.
So let's see, Valerie, Cindy, do I have Irma yet? Irma, if you haven't chatted something, just chat at something on the group.
Yes, I'm actually looking for my LinkedIn profile because I have a new computer because at the working from home, my husband had his computer. So just 1 second, I will share the link shortly.
Okay. You can just chat hello too as a temporary placeholder.
Okay.
You know, it's so funny. I have a side note. One of my friends was going to her office because she was instructed to work from home. So she's got her keyboard, her mouse pad, her monitor, right? And then they just loaded the room with snacks, and the receptionist is like, "No one's coming in. Go ahead and take what you want." So she felt like she was like looting her own office. There's got to be a new word for this. Like it was looting, it was okay, right? It's not the bad looting, it was good looting. But she goes, "I just felt like a looter." Oh my goodness. Irma says hello, and Haley, thank you so much. Not 100% updated, but I'd love to connect. Okay, great. I think we got everybody on there. So yeah, we have the back channel, right? And here we go. So with that is the back channel. It can really be a place where people can chat up while someone is speaking. In all the meetings, even if they don't establish the back channel, I start chatting on there to see who the other type A's are, and I can have a side conversation. And quite often the speakers respond to this, right? So it really show people the chat window, encourage them to use it when others are speaking. It helps extroverts get ideas out without interrupting. It can help introverts because, you know, a lot of times you can put an idea out there without having to take airtime, and you sometimes feels a little safer, like email and texting. You can really do a lot of creativity and engagement inside this space. So that's the back channel chat. So with that, now we're actually going to do an initiative. So people have asked about virtual team building, and I just want to show you a quick example. I also want you, while you're going through this, you're going what I call patient and doctor. Patient means you're going through this as a participant. But as a doctor, I want you to look at the team dynamics that occur with this. So the key here is that here's the goal. You're going to attempt to chat A to Z. You can only chat one letter at a time. You cannot chat twice. So Tim can't go A, B, C, D, right? So if Irma goes A, right, Laura has to, or somebody else has to go B, then Emmy could go C, something like that. If you have to restart if you missed a letter, or if you repeat a letter. You can't talk while you're chatting A through Z, but if you missed a letter, you can talk until someone chats A again. So first, does anybody have any questions? They can do them verbally.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna stop share so I can see the chat window. Okay, so you guys know the rules, you know the goal. You guys are a team. You can begin now. So Valerie and Haley have 2 Bs, so you have to start over. Oh, Haley and Irma have 2 H's, and I love that Cindy, C is for Cindy. So you have to restart.
Oh, I put 2.
Sorry, Irma, you can't talk while you're chatting. You can talk in between, though. Oh, 2 M's from Irma and Ketty. So I'm going to pause right here, right? I'm going to allow before we start chatting again. So you've already had 4 attempts, but nobody has said anything. Why aren't you using one of the key rules here, which is you have the ability to talk when you're not chatting?
I'd like to say something.
Go ahead, Tim.
Can I propose maybe an idea that we establish a sequence based upon some sort of alphabetical sequence of our names, first name maybe? And then if we establish that sequence 1 through 7, we can choose, just put those letters in sequence. So it's like whoever has the first, like C would be, Cindy would be 1. And then in alphabetical order, we establish a sequence, and then we can each put our letters in sequence, something like that maybe.
For the visuals, I see some head nods, but for Laura and Emmy, I just don't know what they're thinking.
That's a good idea.
Or maybe just in the squares. Are we all seeing the same squares in the same order? So it goes John, Cindy, Tim, Valerie, Haley.
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
I see Tim, John, Cindy.
Okay.
I see John, me, Tim, Cindy.
Oh.
I like Tim's idea though. This is Emmy.
So it would be Cindy, Haley, Irma. Who's next? Wait.
Emmy is in there.
Emmy would be next after me. Cindy, Emmy.
Haley, Irma.
John is John's not playing, so
I'm not I'm not chatting. Sorry.
So Ketty.
Ketty.
Laura.
Okay.
Laura.
So I will after
Valerie.
And Tim.
And then me.
So who is before me?
I follow Valerie.
So maybe you could state your name and a number. So
Cindy 1.
And then Emmy is
I guess
2.
that makes me 2.
Okay.
Haley.
3.
3.
Yeah.
Irma
Okay.
4.
Ketty.
I will be 5.
Laura 6.
Oh, Tim 7.
It's your system, Tim.
And I'm the magic 8 ball.
Okay, so we'll start at the beginning.
Yes, so go ahead.
Oops.
We're waiting for Emmy.
Shh.
Oh. I thought I was second, but very confused.
So now Haley.
Who's after Laura? Tim?
Tim.
I am?
Yeah.
Oh.
Back to Cindy. Good.
Wait, I thought I was after Cindy. Am I not
Uh-oh,
after Cindy?
Ketty.
Okay, I'll trade with you, Ketty. But then it should be whoever's after Ketty should come after me.
So now Haley, right?
Who's after Irma?
Oh, I guess that's me. That was...
So now
Oh,
Tim.
Laura skipped
Laura.
you. Oh.
Go!
Oh no!
You gotta pay attention.
So let's pause for 1 second here. Let me just, I'm going to give you 3 pieces or 2 pieces of feedback, which are very funny. One was, I'm very confused, but you guys actually survived a misstep. Somebody chatted out of order, but it didn't, wreck the line.
Yeah.
And you recovered from it. But I love the, who's next? I am.
Well, I thought I was after Laura, but then I scrolled up and I was like, wait, I'm after Irma up there. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I made the mistake.
John,
Okay.
did you really know behavioral styles? I'll bet I'll know what Irma is.
Go ahead and guess. I'll be curious.
Controller.
We'll
She
have an
was very
assessment.
on point. Let's go. This, that. She was calling out the shots. And I felt my controller wanting to come out and do it too, but I saw her doing it and I was like, good for you, Irma. Keep it going.
I'm operations, so I make sure everyone is running according to plan. And if they're not, I reminder.
She was on point.
I think it's one of the things I know. I mean, I started looking at the alphabet and then counting the alphabet and determining which the 7th letter was in the alphabet, which the reality is all I needed to really know is who I was after, So bringing it down to the simplest form of what comes next probably
what's important. Yeah, what's important. Okay, so do you guys have any other? Oh, go ahead, Irma.
Just that this is a very, as Tim is saying, if you trust the person before you, you really have to trust them. And if they mess up, it will mess up your order, which is what happened here. We did recover, but then we eventually did end up making a mistake.
Excellent. Right? Yes. And is there any clarification? So first off, I'm assuming that you guys want to finish this. Yes. Is that a yes? No. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So is there any Whoa, silence. Is there any clarifications that you need before you start again?
Yeah, I need to make sure that I'm after Irma. Yes? I'm after Irma. Okay.
I go after Laura.
Okay. You guys good?
Wait, John, I hope you're timing this so kind of like time to Mount Rainier.
I'll tell you how you did compared to, especially this trial right here. So you guys can look inside of this. But
ready?
I'll compare you to yesterday's
stamps on there, so yeah.
Okay. So okay, Cindy. Wait. Sorry. So Cindy started, and then time begins now. Go.
Oh, Cindy started already?
Yes.
Okay. You're right. I'm after Cindy.
Remember, no talking. Yay!
Virtual high 10.
COVID friendly, COVID-19 friendly. Your time for that was 1 minute and 45 seconds. Yesterday's group took 6.5 minutes.
Wow.
So look at the performance gain, right? It's like almost a 60 to 70% reduction in time compared to yesterday's group. Yeah, Tim, 1 minute, 45 seconds. So yeah, congratulations. So now, let's debrief here. Let's debrief. So what was it like, right, to being a participant inside of this as a team member for this? So let me know if you have any commentary.
I was a little bit nervous because of my language skills, you know. I mean, you know, alphabet by memory, and I had to look into.
That's not fair.
That's what I thought, Katie. I thought actually the alphabet might be different in Georgia the first time you chatted through there, and I'm like, well, that's an advantage or disadvantage you wouldn't think about. But no, thank you for that, for sharing that, and actually for looking up the resource. Who else?
I thought we came together pretty quickly, considering we don't know each other. It's a very different situation than you kind of, you already know the personalities of the people normally, and who's going to probably jump in and who's not going to jump in, and who you're going to have to nudge. And
So this is what's really key, right? You can almost look at even your well-established teams, though, as a new team online right here. I mean, this is why Tim and I, we care so much about team building. This is the value of it, is to bring together teams in a short amount of time. We have been able to do things like shorten the networking time, as well as shortening the team bonding or team performance time. And this is why these team initiatives are so useful. Hopefully for all of those, you can now, like I told you to play doctor, think about all the team dynamics that went on in this very simple exercise. And what's great about it, it didn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes, but it brings out some really, really key important pieces for people to realize working online. What do we have to do different to be effective? Other comments?
well, other thing was, it's also tricky because we have a couple of people that aren't on camera.
Yes.
And so you could feel everybody else kind of, you're watching like, okay, are they going to, you can kind of see everybody like a little bit. And, and then we have the two that like, it's like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Are they there?
I'm telling you, when you're working online, if at all possible, I know some people have some, like I had a call from Boeing and he wasn't sure he could actually turn on his camera because of sometimes the security concerns. But if you have the ability to turn on cameras, you can gain a huge advantage with your groups. You can communicate a lot. So like, even when I'm not in the chat window, if Valerie was speaking, right, we can do things. This is where things like you use this is sign language for applause, right? There are other things you can do like this. You could just be confused, and Valerie will start reacting to it as a great online facilitator. She's going, oh, well, somebody's confused. I'll slow down. I'll stop and ask a question. So it really can give you a lot of cues, and that's why this technology is so valuable, especially when we can't meet face to face. When we meet face to face, we take it for default, for granted that we have all this information. Just using Laura and Emmy as an example, though, without their cameras, right? They're kind of like that checked out person in your meeting. Like you don't know, they might be very attuned to what's going on, but as the presenter for the meeting, I have a hard time with the information, and only through the chat window or some other way can I get the information for them. Katie asked, how big was the group yesterday? It was slightly bigger than this, probably 2 or 3 more members. So pretty comparable, I would say. Any other comments or any other things that people learn now by going through this experience? Yes, Irma.
I think from a person that it's very visual, it was very frustrating not be able to speak at certain times. And and I consider myself somebody that speaks a lot, and I work with people that speak even more than me. So I know that, for example, when we are having this type of interactions now that we have to communicate online, some of the challenges that we encounter is that if somebody doesn't stop them, which most of the times it's HR, they just keep talking.
Yeah, and sometimes they keep talking too, and sometimes the audio quality, your internet drops, and they have no idea. They're blathering on, and nobody can hear them. And without things like the chat window or somebody else, this is why I stopped. I think it was Haley in the beginning, because her mic was actually not very loud. It means that I was having trouble understanding her, and she could have blathered on, and it's not effective because we're not receiving it. So, anyways, I really hope that this showed you an example of virtual team building and what you can do. As we guide ourselves in here to the closing, I just want to add just a couple of pieces of information. I hopefully know you're starting to see a rhythm to this call. So like if you open with a short check-in, you can shorten that check-in, but it's really valuable in the parts to go a little bit slower. You can see the main parts of the meeting here can be about establishing a way that you do your work. Like we have this checklist, this agenda, these other types of things. Bring your culture into this, right? And find that rhythm. And then you'll see I'll close this call. And that's part of our rhythm too for a meeting. When you find this rhythm, you perform. And you guys have already seen it. You did a task that took somebody else 6.5 minutes yesterday. You did it in 1:45. To me, that's rhythm. And if this team continued to work together, they could probably bring that down even more. Yeah, starting in the same way, find a rhythm, bring your culture. And if you don't have the correct culture for online, make new culture. I got a chance to visit Zappos last year live and take one of their tours. And you want to know about culture, read Zappos's book because they're, I think, one of the best in doing it. And you need to make these techniques yours so it feels like you and your team and your company. So that's where rhythm really comes around. I'm going to give you one of my final secrets around this. This is a participation map. So what is a participation map? Well, for this meeting, it looks like this. This has everybody's name. This is in the order of what you logged in as. It helps me keep track. It helps me keep notes of what's going on. As everybody checked in here, this is how I knew that Laura didn't talk yet. This participation map, somebody in the last call asked me, I really want to know how can I lead my meetings and make sure that it's being fair, right? So like we're trying to be fair to Katie. She may have a longer delay in Georgia or the language barrier. To Laura and Emmy, they were didn't just have their cameras on. And so it's a new kind of disadvantage with that. And with that, this is one of the ways to equalize this as a facilitator for the meeting. I usually require a rule where during certain pieces, we're making an important decision. I want to make sure I hear from everybody. That's how decisions are more bought in. And if I didn't hear from Laura, I can give her an option to say, Laura, I'd like to give you the opportunity to talk. You can just say pass if you'd like. And if Laura doesn't have any additional comments, she can pass, but at least I know, and she knows that I gave her an opportunity to to talk, to contribute to the decision-making. And some people's styles are, they don't have anything else to contribute. And so pass is a way to do that, check in, but do it very quickly. Anyways, I'm going to send you this participation map. This is something really valuable. I pioneered like 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm not old, it's true. And with some online facilitation, we were doing totally by telephone with Boeing. And so it really highlighted, many of the other online facilitators adopted the technique because it, again, allowed us to keep track of what's going on. If you are not a great multitasker, assign somebody else to do it. So if you're leading the call like this and you're just worried about these logistics, have a second person who can keep track of the chat room and the participation map so the presenter can stay focused on this. So I don't know, I think growing up with video games, though, I got very, very good at this kind of participation. So as we go into the last part in here, I really want to just talk about results. You guys saw what results can happen in just chatting from A to Z, but I really want to share, I want you to have successful online meetings. I want your ability to get your work done under these challenging conditions. I want to help you lead your company and develop these new ways to help. One company that's doing this here in Seattle is who put these things together. They put goals, rules, rhythm, and results together. This fine dining restaurant in Seattle called Canlis changed their entire business model in a week. Last Thursday, which seems like an eternity ago, they posted this. They're a 4-star dining restaurant. They came in here, times are changing and so are we. We're shutting around our dining room. Fine dining is not what Seattle needs right now. But this is one idea for creating, safely creating jobs while serving our city. This is what they did. A drive-in bagel shed. You can get bagel, breakfast sandwiches, and coffee. A drive-through lunch for burger, veggie melts, salad, and ice cream. And this is the kicker. They can get a home-cooked dinner from a 4-star restaurant and with a bottle of wine. And everyone reposted like, you had me at bottle of wine. And they'll deliver it to your doorstep. And let me tell you, yesterday was the first day that they went into operation. It worked. They had a line of cars out there, all distanced, right? Because people were staying inside their cars, but safely delivering food while other restaurants, you know, have completely closed their doors. So that's what I hope as an example for you, is that it's possible. You in these new conditions can do it if you can adapt the fastest. So thank you for attending this session on virtual team building. I really appreciate the time that each of you were able to send. Hey, if you got value from this, just do me the favor. You can pass this link on. It's virtualteambuilding.eventbrite.com. Again, virtualteambuilding.eventbrite.com. I'll also email it to you. And now this is what's great. If you don't have to worry about location, if you can get in the right time zone, they're every day noon, Tuesday through Fridays. And so I'm going to continue these sessions while we're really helping people out. You know, the last edition I'm going to do here is called Last Word. I will email you some of these resources, but for those of you who need to jump off now, I know that you can, but for those who can stay, I'm just going to give everyone the opportunity to just say if what you got from today's meeting. So who would like to go first? Tim can go. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think it's great. I mean, this is absolutely very important to be offering to people all over the place. So thank you for that. I'm looking forward to collaborating and you know, do what we can to help teams. So this is very highly productive. Great. Thanks for sharing the time. Appreciate it.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Tim. He is a team building professional, so I value your comments highly. Who would like to go next? Go ahead, Valerie.
I just wanted to thank you too. I just, everybody's kind of scrambling right now to see what they can do to help. And I know many of us have been trying to offer whatever type of events we can, and yours are always fabulous. So thank you.
Valerie's experienced a lot of my live events, and I appreciate, you know, experiencing what I can do virtual. So thank you, Valerie. And she's also a very valuable, again, gamification resource. Who else would like to go next? Haley, and then Katie.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Haley. Let's see if we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you as well. I typically have a lot of issues staying connected and focused on webinars. Attention span is not really there. But I was able to stay focused, and like I really enjoyed this, and I think it's very useful moving forward as well. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, Haley. As you can see, if you fall asleep in one of my webinars, your team is going to tell you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Katie.
Thank you, John, and thank you everybody for here, because for us, for such a tiny little country with very, very, very limited resources, it means a lot. We are in really tough situation here. We are neighbors with Russia.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing this, because it will be delivered. I will be multiplying this information in Georgia, and doing tomorrow I already have something for teachers. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, Katie. So thank you for calling in from Georgia, the country. It's so cool. This is one of the cool things about online, is that we can be almost everywhere at once. We've always wished that, and now we can. Katie, because of you, I'm actually going to send the first 3 chapters of my book That's probably about 15 initiatives that you can do with your Girl Scouts. I'm going to share that with everyone because of you. Thank you, Katie. Who would like to go next? Go ahead, Cindy.
Hi, thanks so much, John. As always, I learn great things from you. But the two things I'll point out is, one, I feel like even though this was such a short time, I got a connection with these people, especially visual is super important because now I know what they look like. I can kind of get a feel. And I'm looking forward to connecting with all of them on LinkedIn, and I've already done a couple. The second thing is, Irma, you're a rock star, and I am going to download a cool backdrop as soon as I'm done.
Yay!
Make sure and get a flat background, though. Get a clear wall.
I do. I have a clear wall,
There
and
you
I've been
go.
trying to plan what I'm going to do, and then I'm like,
I'm gonna share my email because I could not log into my LinkedIn as we were
Sure.
talking. So you
Okay.
can send me an email, and that way I can connect with all of you directly from my phone because I don't want to waste your time while you wait here for me.
You'll get a
figure
link to the chat log too, Irma. Although while you're still online, you can click the file and download the chat log, and you'll have the links to everybody else.
Oh, great. I'll do
Just
that.
to empower you. So that's another key piece. Cindy and I too, we formed a partnership with her company, Effectiveness Institute. You're going to be the first group to also get a behavior assessment that's free. It divides you into 4 styles and gives you tips about how to work with other people. You can pretty easily you can recognize most of the other styles, but it also helps you with, especially online like this, you need to also morph yourself a little bit and live in their world if you want to be effective with them. Irma, you get next to last word. Roger's going to join us too, or hopefully Roger's going to share something from Vancouver, Canada, which just closed our borders. So I'm so glad to connect with you. But Irma, you get the last word. Go ahead.
Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you, John, for putting this together. I think tools like yours that are interactive and not flat and staggered and just it's really important for people that have no other way of communicating with the outside world besides this. So thank you for putting it together. If anyone has any additional tools that worked for your team, I am happy to continue this conversation and shared what we've come up with or what your company is coming up with to improve collaboration remotely.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Irma. Roger, do you want to add a short something from Vancouver?
Hey everyone, I just got on at the very end, and so really all I heard was how amazing the session was. So it makes me really want to tune in tomorrow and get is it on again tomorrow, John?
Yeah, every day, Tuesday through Fridays.
Sweet.
Yeah, so please join us. Yeah, my last word is thank you all for joining in. I mean, it's so cool. I'm learning as I'm going along too. Each of these sessions is getting refined. Congratulations to you. You are currently the fastest team, and maybe I'll start a leaderboard on my website with you guys here on the list. And more importantly, again, I'm going to share assessment. The last thing I'm going to share with each of you, there is a link at the bottom of the email I'm going to send, and it connects directly to my calendar. If you need 30 minutes of coaching on something or ideas or generation or just connection, or you need a beverage, all right, please connect with me. It'll tell you what my open spots on my calendar are. Again, we are challenged too. I've had 10 of programs that have been postponed. So if there's a way that I can help you virtually, I would be honored to be able to do so. Thank you all for joining, and we will see you next time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, John.
Thanks,
Nice
John.
to meet y'all.